What is up, my friends? You are welcome along to our match reaction here on Anfield Agenda after Newcastle beat Liverpool by 2-1 to win the League Cup, and congratulations to them on their victory. A thoroughly deserved victory from Newcastle, but from our perspective, well, we've got to look inwardly and ask ourselves, where did that performance come from? I think we know the answer. We'll go through it as always. We want you guys to have your say. If you'd like to submit your player ratings, you can do so with the link pinned to the top of the chat. And look, I'm going to give you guys the chance to have your say here today, because I know there's a lot of people want to get a lot of stuff off their chest. Before we do, I'm just going to give you a quick recap. But again, thank you to our sponsors as well, Manscaped. Check out the Beard and Balls bundle. Get yourself 20% off and free shipping store-wide at manscaped.com by using our code ANFIELD20 at checkout. That is ANFIELD20 for your 20% discount and free shipping, or scan the QR code. Right, look. Again, I want to start off by clarifying Newcastle deservedly won that game. Congratulations to them. They're the better team on the day. They deserve their win. So from the outset, I want to make that clear. But from our perspective, that was an entirely predictable performance, filled with fatigue, filled with a lack of energy, filled with a lack of desire, a lack of fight, and a lack of ideas. And that's the worrying part. You can sit here and I can debate with you back and forth about why we did what we did today, but the game plan looked shot. How did Diogo Jota start that game? What has he done to deserve to start that game? Why has Federico Chiesa been ignored throughout the season when he showed more fight in 15-20 minutes there than we've seen from Diogo Jota in the entire last 2 or 3 games? Mohamed Salah was anonymous today, and the game plan seemed to be boot the ball long into the corners and hope we win second balls. But the problem was we won absolutely none. We didn't have a single shot in the first half on target, and in the second half we had to wait to go 2-0 down before desperation kicked in. The manager looked to the bench, start utilising the likes of Chiesa, Elliott, Jones, players who in some way did make a difference, but the damage had already been done. So today, this is on the owners, this is on the manager, and this is what happens when you don't back your players. This is what happens when you don't give them contracts and show belief in them. They're mentally and physically exhausted. A small squad with a lack of investment has once again run aground at the end of the season. And we've been here before. So that's my thoughts on what's happened there today. Again, though, I do want to congratulate Newcastle because they deserve their win. And it's been a long time for them waiting to win a trophy. So I hope them and their fans enjoy the party that they very much earned. But for us, it sucks and it hurts. And I'm going to let you guys now have your say. Remember, we do want to know your thoughts, so keep your comments coming in. And you can submit your player ratings in the form at the top of the chat. Right. Liam Blummers, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. I'm going to try flow through as many of these super chats as I can. 1 second. I just got to catch up to make sure I am where I want to be. Right. Where are we? Sorry, I'm playing catch up here. That one. Right, so we'll start with here. VI Joke said, FSG won't care, they only care about the money. Aryan said, as much as I don't like, maybe Edwards is right. So, if he's right, why do we gamble another season on it? This is my point. Like, I'm open to the idea that Edwards feels some of these guys' ship has sailed or the race has ran. But I'm not open to allowing another season to go by while we don't be proactive in looking to try and win trophies. That's the part that hurts as a fan. Absolutely, there could be something to players being tired and old, but there's been no succession planning. And whatever happens next season, we're going to have a huge fight in our hands to retain the Premier League title when we win it. And we're not going to be going into it optimistic that that can be done. So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. But the team selection today from Arna needs to be questioned as well, because you put the same players out there that were leggy and without fight on Tuesday, and they played 120 minutes, and we expect them to be, better today? It was a weird team selection. Lewis Houston said, sub should have been made at half-time. Jota, Diaz, goodbye. Mohamed said, do you think that Slot doesn't trust Chiesa because he's too direct and Slot wants more control? I don't know, Mohamed, but you seen what happened when Federico got brought on. He looked absolutely like a man possessed, fought hard and got himself a goal. And you just wonder, well, what if he did that on Tuesday against PSG in extra time? Could we have had the same result? We'll never know. So yeah, there are lots of things to question. But again, having players the manager doesn't trust and utilising them too late in the season is a difficult one to figure out as well. Cahill said, this is a perfect copy of last season. We're getting tired and didn't sign any reinforcements. Absolute disgrace. FSG out. Happy for Chiesa. Love you. Thank you, Cahill. Very appreciated, mate. And I'm happy for Federico as well. He kept his mouth quiet, smiled, continued to train, try his best. And when he got his chance today, he took it. So I'm happy for him. And I best hope that Arne Slot utilises him for the remainder of the season. Because Diogo Jota is washed at this point for Liverpool. He's nowhere. And Salah, again, nowhere in that game today. Tough to say, but you know, we've got to be honest about it. Team selection was shocking, and the energy levels were non-existent. Nick said, hi Craig, sad we lost but optimistic about the future. Slot has shown FSG with a lack of squad depth is, and hopefully that will start in the summer if we play Chiesa some more. But we knew the lack of squad depth was there. We didn't need for this to happen to figure that out. This is just unfortunately the end to a very tough week as a Liverpool fan. To lose a cup final and go out of the Champions League in 1 week, that's a bitter pill to swallow. Devastated. Slot got it wrong. Why not play Alisson? I mean, let's be honest about this, mate. Alisson not playing that game is not the reason we didn't win it. You know, whatever we think about their first goal and could Kelleher have done better, I'm going to argue back and go, why have you got Alexis McAllister marking a fella a full foot taller than him? You know, so I don't think personally, mate, Alisson's the difference there in that final. But I don't know, we're all clutching at straws here to try and figure it out. Big summer necessary joke of a performance, said Big Baddy Baller. Sidant said, Slot should never be compared with Klopp like people are doing. Klopp won it last year with under 19 kids. It would take at least 4 years to reach Klopp levels under Slot. Yes, our owners are shy too. It's a really difficult one to excuse me, I hope I've pronounced your name correctly and I apologize. Sidant, my apologies, sir. Look, I've never liked the comparisons between the two. They're their own unique men and they do the job in their own way. But you're right to question the selection and the trust put in certain players today. I think you have a very fair point in raising that. Mutai Squirrel said, attacking output poor all season long barring Salah. Craig Peter said, Federico and Harvey more fight in 15 minutes than most of the team, but they are knackered. Curtis tried to drive us forward too. Congrats to the tune. Will said, this hurts to say, but today, PSG game, we've played with 10 men, players missing. Can you believe it was Salah? It's so difficult to say that, isn't it? You are, of course, right. Salah was anonymous today. Whether it was fatigue, Ramadan, overplay, I don't know, but we weren't able to get him to have an impact in the game. He wasn't able to take on or get past his man. We weren't winning second balls. It certainly isn't Mohamed Salah's fault there today. It was a team that just let itself down with a lack of energy. And again, you've got to correctly ask about the tactics. What were they? Easy to throw players on and go all out attack when you're 2-0 down and in dire need to get something out of the game. But where was this proactiveness in the first half when we were going sideways and backwards? It felt like almost we were settling for 0-0 in the first half. Lewis Houston, welcome, mate, for Anfield Agenda. Thank you for being with us for 19 months. I'll get to your comment in 1 second. Tom said, not the greatest performance by our lads today, but not great team selection by Slot. Ultimately, not great all over, but let's not get carried away. Slot's for a season, and this is clearly not his team. Well, I get where you're coming from. And look, to win a league title is absolutely brilliant, Tom. No denying that. But you can't say this doesn't feel like an anticlimax in another season where we will stumble over the line to win the league. But in 1 week, we've gone out of the Champions League at the first available knockout phase and been beaten in the cup final. That's not a week that's going to fill too many people full of optimism, unfortunately. Feel for Salah. Looks absolutely drained after carrying our attack for most of the season. Additional wingers needed in the summer. I agree on both points, but why leave him on? You know, this is another thing that I think fans have a right to ask. Nobody's denying Salah's exhausted. He looks it. But why leave him on all the time in every game? Robbie said Harvey needs more game time. Yep, and it kills me to say that he's one of the players that has been mentioned as being sold in the summer. VI Joker said Slot needs a good summer in recruitment. Whether FSG are up for it or not is another matter. Corner taken quickly said, so now you're telling me we had a finisher like that on the bench against PSG. Brilliant, Arna. Absolutely brilliant. Mate, it boiled my blood on Tuesday that we didn't give Federico Chiesa the extra time or the penalties. You know, we looked exhausted in extra time against PSG. They looked like they were the only ones pushing to win the game. And you're right. Why didn't we utilise him? At least to give us an outball or somebody to run the channels to give us an option. And a decent penalty taker as well. Bumbadog said, refund to the fans, absolutely abject performance that people go to pay to go and watch. Joelinton showed more fight than 18 reds. Horrific display. Yana said, Slot F for not trusting the bench. Chulu said, Liverpool only scored 2 goals in the last 5 finals. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point as well, mate. I just don't get the tactics in the first half. I don't understand what the plan was, other than to what? Maybe wear Newcastle down and win it late, but we didn't look like we wanted to go and grab that game by the scruff of the neck today and win it. Mike, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Craig, we're forgetting McConnell on the bench. He would have had more fight in him than some others. Yeah, look, we seen the fight from Chiesa when he came on, and Elliott, and Jones. They made a difference, but we left it way too late once again to do that. At half-time, Jota should have been off and we should have brought somebody else on. We didn't. We left it 10 minutes into the second half and then we went 2-0 down. So again, instead of being proactive, we were reactive, and that isn't good enough. We left it too late, we gambled and we lost yet again. And we need to be more proactive in these situations and not wait for the game to be gone past us before we react and make changes. They should have been done at half-time, because it was clear who wasn't at it today in that first half. And the same contenders weren't at it when they came out in the second half and were no better. Javid said, I wonder if FSG Men TV, the Anfield crap and the Cook journalists will continue to twerk for FSG. Even a blind man could see we needed strengthening. So Javid, I'm giving everybody their chance to have their say now. And I'm reading through all the comments. But I'll be back at 8:45 later on tonight, or 9 o'clock, to have my say when I've composed myself and thought this through. And I promise you, I will be calling out what needs to be called out, my friend. Liam said, I mentioned this before. Salah during Ramadan always drops off in every season. Bad starting 11. Endo, Fede should have started over PSG. So, I understand the Ramadan point. And it's obviously not something that I can speak about. Not being of Muslim faith and not observing it. I don't know what it feels like to play hungry. But Kanade is also, I believe, of the Muslim faith and observes Ramadan. And there are other players that do it. And that doesn't excuse what we've seen there today. I always say the same thing. Of course I want to be respectful. But if you feel you can't contribute, then honest conversations need to be had about why. It's okay to say I don't think I'm going to be at it today. So yeah, look, it's a difficult one to balance. But this isn't just one poor performance from us in the last 2 weeks. There's been quite a few. Dylan said, deja vu from last season. We looked absolutely pathetic today. Congrats to Newcastle. Big changes needed up front. I thought our midfield looked exhausted today as well. You know, Gravenberch, I don't need to tell you guys that he's been run into the ground all season. And you've seen him again today exhausted. Just nobody there in midfield today had the legs. And Newcastle had the fight and wanted it more. So, look, I'm very pleased to see so many people at least being honest in the assessment that Newcastle were deserving winners of that game. They were. Right. F it, start Fede up top for the rest of the season. Only one that looked normal finisher. Plus, we need some more rotation. I agree with you, mate. I'd be putting Federico up top after the international break against Everton. No problem with it. I agree with you 100%. Jota and Darwin should be nowhere near the starting 11 for the last 9 games. Nowhere near it. Another March collapse that FSG will run from free, said Nick. Unfortunately, so Nick, yes. And it's painful, isn't it? It's painful. It's tough to watch. Tom said, agree with you. It's gutting to get knocked out and lose a cup final, but what did Klopp do in his first season? We lost a Europa League final, but the manager had no support in the market. Not one player that he wanted brought in. And this is the result of it, unfortunately. But again, today was more than just fatigue. You could just see something wasn't right. Someone commented to me in the first half in the chat, Craig, something feels off about this at the minute. And I think that's right. I think behind the scenes, I would be incredibly surprised if everybody was happy at Liverpool right now, because it doesn't feel that way from the outside. Sebastian said, I think Arne Slot needs to become a more flexible manager. He always sticks with his favourites with his system, even when we were performing badly. I swear we had these same conversations about Klopp, though, as well, about favourites, sticking with the same players, not substituting early enough. Leach said, I'm so annoyed by that performance. We need new signings in the summer and we're so off it. There's no fight. I take it we're not having the man of the match poll, Connor, by the looks of it. I feel like we should have a man of the match poll, to be honest with you. What does Arne Slot have against Fede Chiesa? I don't know. But if that doesn't convince him to give him a run out, I don't know what will. Because he came on today and he made a difference and he scored the goal and he showed fight that nobody else showed. So I agree with everybody who thinks he should get more game time now. Cass Riv said, can we win the league being so tired and drained? Yes, we'll limp over the line, mate. The fact that we have such a buffer and such a healthy lead is what's going to be in our favour. But you're right, we're not going to win the league playing at our brilliant best by the looks of it now. We'll stumble over the line, fall over it. But as long as we get it done, you know, fair play. But yeah. Spencer said, this is on Slot and FSG. Annie said, I'm being facetious, but looks like Saudi Arabian money won the cup today. Well, look, to be fair, Newcastle won the cup today because they played better. Not because of their owners or investment, because the manager set his team up right. They played better and they deserved to win it. And they were without Anthony Gordon. They were without Fabian Schär. They were without Lewis Hall. So, yeah, they won that because they deserved to win it. Yana said, no tactics, hoofed the ball and played their game. Yep. And sideways and backwards stuff for the entire first half. And we've said this so many times, like, we're setting up our attacks by letting them get back in. So we're so focused about not giving away possession and turning it over to be countered that we're allowing opposition teams to get reset. And then all we do, as many people have pointed out, is hoof balls into the channel and we've nobody there to challenge for the second balls. How much joy did we think Diogo Jota was going to get there early against Dan Burn and Fabian Schär? None. The thing that really boiled my blood in that game today was seeing Alexis McAllister marking Dan Burn. And I called it during the match on the second corner. Why is he marking him? Why have we got a lad a full foot smaller than Dan Burn marking him? And then who scores? Dan Burn from a header where McAllister had 2 men to keep an eye on. 2. Go back and watch it. He's 1 man and then he moves off to another one because he had to track him and he loses out and Dan Burn scores. And it was all entirely preventable. How do you leave the tallest man on the pitch unmarked? Absolute crabs, said MBN. Nunez, Jota, Chimikas, Jones, respectfully are not good enough to be playing for Liverpool, said AED. I think Jones did okay when he came on. If I'm being honest, I think he did okay. I thought Robbo did okay. I think Kwanzaa did okay. In midfield, we never got grips of the game at all. Soboslai, it's like the pitch was too big for us today again. And when you think of Liverpool, you think of pass and move. That's what you think of when you think of Liverpool. Pass and move, Liverpool groove. Pass and move, that's what we do. But no, long balls, and we don't have to fight to win the second balls. If you're going to play those long balls, you best have people snapping around to win the second ones and hunting in packs. But we didn't do that today because we didn't have the legs to do it. Nessie said, for the first time ever, Newcastle scored their second, for the first time ever, after Newcastle scored their second, I felt like we weren't going to have a comeback. And same after Chiesa scored. It's a sad week. Look, I did hope, Nessie, I'm not going to lie, when Fetty scored, I hoped maybe we create one more chance. But Newcastle then ran the clock down very well, kept it in the corners, won throw-ins, and that was it then. We had nothing. And look, we deserved nothing. If we had gone to extra time in that game, it would have been daylight robbery for Newcastle, but heartbroken. Max said, made me even more mad, it was Chiesa, all my feelings confirmed. VI Joker said, I think the international break is coming at a good time to get these players rested for the run-in and let's go all out on a high. We've got to do something after this international break. Got to do something, because you can see right now something's not right. Something's not right at the club. Whether it's the lads worried behind the scenes, whether it's people questioning the owners, the players, each other, I don't know, but something just doesn't feel right. Every single year we fall off. We're meant to be world class, yet we don't behave like a world class club. In an ideal world, we keep Trent, VVD, Salah and replace Diaz, Jota, Darwin, one of the left backs, buy a new DM at centre back, yet we all know it won't happen. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that, and I agree very firmly with your comment. We're a big club in one sense, the fan base around the world and the money that we bring in, but we're a poorly run club because our owners don't have any ambition, desire or want to win. They only want Champions League money and they only want the value of their asset to go up. That's all they're interested in. And I hope that the end to this campaign again will show maybe some fans that were on the fence that all of us people who are calling for the strength in depth, who are calling for signings, weren't doing it to be troublemakers. We're doing it because we're sick of feeling this feeling that you're all feeling right now. That what could have been another promising season will end up with the bare minimum. And that's what winning the league feels like now. Because the league's been won pretty much for 2 months. And it feels like that's expected now. But the Champions League and the Cup Final were the variables. With a cherry on top. And we went out with a whimper in both. And that sucks. At a point of a season where you should be at your best to win things. So we all mocked the likes of Real Madrid and PSG early in the season, losing stupid Champions League games. But come the knockout phase, when it matters, when they need to be at their best, they're both in the quarterfinals. And us, the team that beat 7 teams in a row in the Champions League, we're exhausted. We've lost the Cup Final and we're out of the Champions League in 1 week. That feels... That's tough. Chulu said, Slot has his favourites, never plays Chiesa, Endo and Elliott. Wakas Ahmad said, hello Craig, how are you? I'm so frustrated today. The performance, big investments needed in the summer. I'm heartbroken. Heartbroken, my friend. But it was on the cards early doors in this final, wasn't it, if we're being honest with ourselves? It's not like we started that game and looked like we were the better team and we were trying to figure out Newcastle. We started it on the back foot and we ended it desperately just pumping up balls to Virgil van Dijk up top, hoping something drops for a second ball. And that's disappointing because there was 5 days between Tuesday and Sunday and it looked like we hadn't got a clue what we were doing out there. It's sad. Something behind the scenes isn't right, Craig. The delay in contracts, it's rinse repeat every spring. The team are knackered. Yeah, I agree, Lee. They're exhausted physically and mentally. But I guess, as somebody pointed out to me earlier on, maybe that's proven Michael Edwards' point here. But again, I would just have loved some honesty from the club. If you don't want to renew Virgil and Mo and Trent, well then just tell us. Rather than this pretense and this lie and manipulation all year. Right, Michael said, Craig, when you look at the 11 on the field when the final whistle blew, we had players all out of position. Van Dijk was playing as a striker. This just shows Slot needs to trust the bench. Yeah, we needed desperation stakes. We rolled the dice. We pushed forward more. We committed more men forward. And as you said, we sent our centre-backs up the top and played long diagonal balls up to them, hoping to win second balls. But none of that proactiveness was there. Today, we were reactive right throughout that game. Whether it be from the substitutions or the way that we said about it. We reacted to the situations rather than trying to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. No player should be sold. We need incoming players to increase squad size. Oh, I would disagree strongly, Will. Darwin Núñez should be sold because just having him around the club must be frustrating. Genuinely. So he should be gone. There are players out there as well who you could make an argument for, like Diogo Jota. Half a season's no good to have Diogo Jota. So I would say you could argue there. Tyler Morton, not going to make it at Liverpool. And there are other players in and around the squad that should be moved on as well. But you're right about adding depth, though. We do need to add enough depth. But this is what kills us all. We're now sitting here thinking, right, well, if they go, if Salah goes, if Mo goes, or if Virgil goes, if Trent goes, nobody feels confident we're going to go out there and spend what's needed to really refresh this team. What we think we're going to see is the bare minimum with players who have promise but might take 2 or 3 years to get to where we need them to be to win a league title. You know, it's going to be very difficult to come in pre-season now and feel like we're genuinely going to defend this Premier League and start the season as favourites. It looks like once again we've won a league title and it'll be probably in isolation for a little while again. I'm worried about the league, but I'm more worried about what happens after this season. I see a number of players leaving with no investment, said Lee. Well, make sure you're vocal about this, bro, on social media. Make sure that you remind everybody that told you that the club have it all in hand, that the club know what they're doing, writing their articles telling you it was bold, brave, courageous decisions, the club were holding their nerve. All the usual crap that we get fed by these journalists and these FSG apologists every single season. They profess to be Liverpool fans and they just back the owners and let them away with murder. Let them away with a lack of investment. Let them away with a lack of desire to win trophies. All because they've got their feet under the table. It's a disgrace. And I'm going to go in on this in proper detail tonight at 9 o'clock or 8:45. Because I've had it. I've had it up to here now. That's it. The season's over at this point. There's nothing left that I can't say. And I'm going to have my say tonight. I saw it in Slot's face when he walked out at the start. He looked worried, stressed and not confident as he does in Premier League matches. That worried me, said Brad Jackson. Sam said, we're talking about this week, but the whole of March is crap. Even Southampton game was poor as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to read through your shorthand writing. Only long ball. Look, you're right. You're right, Sam. We haven't been great this month at all. I'm not trying to say we have. Hugo said, so sad, my hands are shaking. No Manscaped today for me. I don't blame you, mate. Yeah, if my hands were that shaking, even with the skin safe technology, I wouldn't be going near down there. Why you haven't talked to David Lynch the last 2 months? I've explained this numerous times. When I start calling out, I'll be honest about this. This is what happened. I start calling out Gorst and Doyle for belittling Liverpool fans and looking down their nose at the rest of us. And David Lynch immediately sent us a message saying he doesn't feel comfortable coming on the channel anymore because these guys are his mates and he doesn't like me calling them out. That's what happened. So he decided that I was too much trouble to continue to work with and decided to just do what he did, which is decide not to work with us anymore. So, you know, it wasn't my decision. It was him looking out for his own self-interest and backing Doyle and Gorst and the other Echo lads who don't have the balls to call out the club's owners. That's why. And then the coward goes and blocks us on social media as well. Absolute coward of a man. And I only ever treated him well, paid him well, looked after him. And that's how I got repaid. Got thrown under the bus so we could look out for his Echo mates and they could all have their little access. Not a pair of balls between any of them. That's what happened. I tried to show that he wasn't an FSG apologist. I tried to give him a platform, help him out and his channel out, help his journalistic future out, and I get thrown under the bus. So, lesson learned on my behalf. And it hurt. It really, really hurt me because it was a cowardly act that I deserved better because I never said a goddamn word to him and was only ever respectful and professional with him. Cheers to Newcastle. Our lads look tired. Hope more rotation for the upcoming months. Slot needs backing. Yeah, congrats to Newcastle, like you said, mate. No denying that one. They were the better team today. I'm on my second whiskey. How are you? Hope you're okay. I'm devastated, Star Girl. Yeah, I'm devastated because it's been a tough week, hasn't it? To go out of the Champions League and then you think, right, well, we've got a chance to bounce back. And what a better way to bounce back than a cup final. So let's see the lads go out there and put the wrong of midweek right. And they didn't. They lost with a whimper today. Matthew said, off topic, I'm tired of the Jones slander. He's not world class, but the way our fans talk about him, you think he's El Hadj Stuff. He's better than all of our starting mids today. Not accusing you of Craig, just fans online. So I was somebody who's always called out Curtis Jones, but this season I changed that, Matthew, because I seen a difference in him under Arne Slot, and I think today he was certainly much better when he came on than some of the players that started, and they're certainly not the worst of the bunch that are there, mate. But unfortunately there is agendas that some people have and just never drop. And I've seen it over the years with Lallana and some others as well. And look, I'm not saying I haven't had times where I've been calling out players. But if they've improved, I've changed that opinion and owned up to being wrong. And on Jones this season, I think this has been his best season for Liverpool since he's come through. So for me, he's far from the worst of them. Excuse me, this season. Oluwasun, and excuse me if I've mispronounced that, my friend. Hi Craig, I'm worried about the league. Our next game back is versus Everton. Salah looked off his game for about 4 games now. So it's a very fair concern, but if we can't get up for a Merseyside derby, which would move us 3 points closer to a league title after the heartbreak at Goodison, then I'd be even more concerned, my friend. You know, that should be the perfect tonic for these players after the international break to get back. But we won't know until then, mate, will we? So we're going to have to wait and see, unfortunately. Fraser said, pick 4 players to sign in the summer. It depends on who's leaving, mate. I would say Kirkes, Huyson, Nico Williams, Isak, Cunha, Sheshko. I'm not saying sign all of these, by the way. I'm just throwing out names at you. The Kuiper I like from Club Brugge. Another midfielder. I mean, Zubamendi looks like he's going to Arsenal, and I'll cover that in tonight's late night agenda. That looks like it's progressing through. Ashley said, Chiesa scored, Elliott assisted, Slot needs to start him, but I bet you he won't. Well, I hope that he does, mate. I hope that he does. Commentary box was yelling to give the ball to Salah, but it was the only long ball. Even Southampton, PSG, first leg, it was only Diaz or left wing who had most of the ball. And when we did get it, they weren't taking on their men. I know Salah didn't get too much of it today. It was more on the left side from my memory anyway. But Diaz kept cutting inside again, over and over and over, ushing him inside. And what happens there? You're bringing him into traffic. So if you're a fullback and Diaz is standing you up, showing him inside where there's traffic means that you've got cover. He never goes around the outside and gets to the byline and tries to dink it across or get to the stick one up to the far sticks. Never. Just cut inside, run across the pitch and narrow the game again. Michael said all the fans need to come together and see what's really going on at the club, Craig. Call out FSG, then start spending money on squad depth. You need to start calling out everybody that has let this happen. Everybody that has said nothing while Rome burned. They all need to be called out. They all need to be held to account. They all need to know that they contributed to this. Because they did. Everybody that's pandered to FSG, everybody that supported the lack of player purchasing, everybody that said, what are you complaining for? You're top of the league, you're top of the Champions League, you're in a cup final. All of those cowards need to be called out. Because every single one of them willingly let this happen. Because they all know. They know what you know and I know. That this squad needs investment and it wasn't coming. And they let it happen. And they let it happen to look after their own self-serving interests, like the cowards that they are. So I won't be spoken down to by any of these clowns anymore. Any of them. Because not one of them have an ounce of morality between them. All cowards. So if they want to jump on Dominic King and all these other gobshites, if they want to jump onto X to say, you can't say that, I will, and I'll continue to say it. And if you don't like it, do something or shut the fuck up. Because you're the problem. You're the problem. You're not a solution. You're not better than other people. You're the problem. People like you allowing these owners to do what they do is the problem. You're in an important position where you have a platform and a voice and you don't use it. You willfully just put your head down and allow this shit to happen. It's not good enough. Right, let's have a look at the man of the match poll. We asked you who was your man of the match, and you voted with 82% to say Federico Chiesa, and he only came off the bench with about 15 to go. And you're right, by the way, he did more in that 15 minutes than most of the others did, so good selection. Right, a couple of other bits and pieces as well. Not that there's much to really celebrate and party now, but if you want to come and see us and join us to celebrate the league title, we'll be in Liverpool, the Hot Water Comedy Club, on the 28th of May. You can get your tickets to the link in the description. Yeah, look, I'm devastated. I'm going to go record the player ratings now. If you'd like to contribute your player ratings, you can do so. The link at the top of the chat. If you can, drop a like on the stream, although there's not much to like, let's be honest. I wouldn't be liking it. And again, I appreciate your support today. I will be back tonight at 8:45 for a late night agenda, maybe 9 o'clock. And it's going to be gloves off. And I'm going to be having my say. So I hope to see you there for that one. And again, thank you to everyone that joined us. Congratulations to Newcastle again. 70 years away for their fans. They deserve their victory today. For us, well, we've got to regroup and go again after the international break. We'll talk soon.